Welcome to Dear Alice, a lifestyle approach to interior design.
Hello everyone, welcome to Dear Alice. Today we are doing a fun one. This came from you guys. You wanted to know what are the, did they say boldest spaces we've ever done?
Mm-hmm. Like we really want an episode with just like where you guys can like deep dive into the boldest spaces and how you got there.
Yeah, and we were like, oh my gosh, you're right. We haven't really done an episode like that before. We sometimes from time to time talk about a project that we learned this on or that on, or here's what we're doing. But yeah, we got to go back through the Alice Lane books and really, well, of course, the boldest ones you always remember, but we wanted to get pictures. So this is going to be one of those episodes that you can totally listen on your walk, but you might want to circle back and watch this on YouTube, because we are going to be showing you sometimes some of these projects for the first time ever. I got special permission from a client to show their project, which they never wanted us to be able to share it in the past. And they were like, go ahead and share it on this episode. So
yeah, we're just going to share it with our closest 40,000 friends.
Yes.
So
totally.
It's really intimate.
Yeah. We're like, not
our
that
inner circle.
like not that many people watch the YouTube one, so it's only going to be like a couple hundred. So he said we could go ahead and share it. So if you guys do tune in, you're going to see visuals of all these projects over all the years. How long have we been at it? 16 years?
16 years. Yeah, and it's amazing too. Like we just had them all spread out here a second ago, and I'm just like, that's like $5.
Yeah.
I will say, like, it is a lot of content, and it's beautiful, and it's just really fun to revisit. And like, remember how we got there.
Yes.
You know, and it's all really good and original. So
yep.
Excited for you guys to see it.
This is going to be a 2-part episode. There are enough projects here that we thought we'd cut it in half so that you didn't have a really long episode to listen to or to watch. So we will get into that. But first, Sue, do you want to tell them about our Great Trade program?
Guys, I had a recent experience. My neighbor does interior design, and she's kind of just getting started, and she was helping another friend of ours with like this big addition that they're doing on their house. And she called me from a lighting store that's like only does custom bits. And she's like, yeah, I'm over here shopping for Kim, and like we're designing something. I'm like, oh no, you don't know what to do. Okay, we need to like not do custom when you're coming out the gate, because there's so many options that like you can do custom sizing on stuff that's like already being produced, so that you don't have to be liable for it, and you don't have to eat the cost should this custom beautiful thing that's being created, you know, reinventing the wheel, doesn't maybe go as planned. So
I also feel like it takes you a while to hone your skills as a new designer to really understand scale. Yeah. So also having something custom made when you're still kind of getting your legs under you, your baby deer legs, I feel like that's also a huge liability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we're doing like product samples, we go through, I mean, at least 2 samples before we're like, okay, like we have to like refine it a little bit, and you don't want to pay for that chandelier 3 times.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Exactly. So when I was talking to her, and like I was in my car, she was gardening, and she was telling me about this, I was just like, red flag. I'm like, you need to get signed up for our To the Trade program. Like we've done this for a long enough time. We've done enough custom that we've eaten those things already, you know, and we've learned those lessons, and we've gathered vendors that have large chandeliers and have things that like will work for your projects. So like no greater thing could I tell her than to, I was just like, I'm gonna have my girl actually call you, because you need to like stop and reroute, and we'll help you, and then we'll store it for you, and we'll deliver it for you, you know? Yeah. So I feel like we've just done this for a long enough time that we figured out like what we need help with. And what the best experience for the client will be, what the best experience for you will be in getting from like A to Z and having it turn out beautiful. So that is my call to all y'all designers out there. Sign up for our To the Trade program. We have an awesome team that will contact you, and they'll get you all set up. And we have already so many vendors. If you're here in the state of Utah, we have all the libraries here in our showroom, that's half the battle. So really it is the best program. I did my own thing for a little bit, and I wish I had this resource. So what you guys are going to go do is you're going to go to alicelanehome.com, and you're going to go to the Design Services tab. In that, there's a To the Trade, and that is the contact. You can just fill out the form. They'll contact you, and they'll hook you up. So,
and we do it for all 50 states.
Yep.
So it's okay if you're not in Utah. We have a network of warehouses we use across the nation, and we can get anything sent anywhere. So we can help you. We would love to.
Okay. So AliceLaneHome.com, design services to the trade. We're so excited. You need to join. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Sue. Cori.
Now.
Awesome. Am I doing a review?
No. What y'all been up to?
Yeah.
Like,
I want
to hear about your project. What's going on in the cabin world?
I'm such a noob. Like I try to pretend that I know when I'm talking to these guys on the phone, like the city inspector and stuff. And I'm doing a sewer project because I don't have a sewer line.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
No.
Sewer project?
Totally.
Just for fun?
And so I've just been calling people like, hey, I'm managing a project.
I'm on man place.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, you're a general contractor? I'm like, no,
I am now.
No, yeah. So it totally got rejected. Everything and they're like, oh, you got to do this, and I was like, they're like, you need a bond. I'm like, how do I go about getting a bond? Like I'm just starting from square one, and the guy doesn't love it, but I'm figuring it out as I go. You know,
it's like
the
Wild West. It's like you're putting your flag in the ground, and you're just gonna take it from there and
fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make. Confidence is everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're like, yes, I am the general contractor.
So the plan is get that sewer. I'm putting sewer, having gas line ran. This 900 feet of it. This isn't like 30 feet of running 900 feet of it.
You must really want a cabin.
Yeah. What I really want to do is not have a septic tank. I think you can attest to that. Yeah.
Because that will cost you later down the road.
Exactly. So I'm like, man, if I'm like tearing up the road, I might as well get gas. I have to do electric. It's turned into a hell of a project, but I've like rallied all of the neighbors and I'm like, we're going to do this. Like, so the city can't stick it to us later. Cause if the city puts it in the ground, they're going to put a premium on it and then just run an assessment on everyone. They did that with the water last year. So I'm like, before those like jokers do that, let's get in here. Let's do it ourselves. And everyone's like, yeah, you let us know. Like
pitchforks.
Going for mayor.
Exactly.
Old man plays for mayor.
That's what I'm doing. Like one day I'm going to be like Brian Head Mayor or something like that.
That'd be amazing.
We said it here first, guys.
Exactly.
Yeah. Brian Head.
2030.
Brian Head is a little ski resort town here in Utah, and Cori is building a cabin up there on some land that is primitive. It sounds like it's been untapped with sewer and plumbing and all the things.
Yeah, it's old school. Some would say, you know, the people that live there, like the cabins that are there now, they're just like totally roughing it, you know, and it's people that have like pretty much retired up there and they just want to be away from everyone. So it's really like a cool, like quaint little spot. And there's a lot of growth happening right now. And I'm just trying to get a part of that.
You're spearheading that.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Let's get this sewer in the ground.
Amazing.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
Sewers. Okay.
Before we get started though, I do have this review.
Oh yeah. Let's
Casey
hear
Fox.
it. I love hearing from Casey Fox.
Yeah.
Thanks, Casey Fox.
It's amazing.
Like a
the beginning of it made me laugh out loud. It says, if only I was as consistent in the gym as I am with listening to this podcast. I haven't missed a week. I've recommended this podcast to all my best friends. As someone who has always wanted to go to design school, this has fed my curiosity about all the things interior design and taught me so much. It makes me want to go and get my degree. We are currently in the middle of a major renovation on our 70s home. Think Frank Lloyd Wright vibes in Northern California.
Dreamy.
Cool.
I know, right? Listening to this podcast has helped me tremendously with making appropriate decisions and choosing timeless finishes. I hope you never stop this podcast. It's truly a bright spot for me every week. Love you three.
Oh, love you too, Casey Fox.
Yeah, thanks for listening to us. I'm so glad that this has been helpful on your project. I love hearing that all of this information is being put to use.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I can't wait. You'll have to send us a picture of how it turns out, Casey Fox.
Yeah, please do.
Yay! Good. Okay. Well, let's get into
we?
it. Should we talk about our boldest projects of all time?
Let's dive in. I'm so stoked to see all of these.
Yeah.
And just pick your brain about them.
I know. We haven't ever done a book, and I feel like these would be for sure the pages in that book.
100%.
So the first one that I teased you guys about was a project that we completed about 9 or 10 years ago. It took 5 years. It was a 30,000 square foot home to begin with. It was modeled after Versailles. It's located here in Utah, and some really good friends of ours bought it. he wanted to do a renovation to the home, really extensive, so much so that it turned into a 5-year project, and
40,000 square feet,
and a 10,000 square foot addition to the home. It's magnificent. It's so beautiful. I feel like every one of his daughters should get married in this backyard or something. It's just really an idyllic, beautiful, beautiful space. So I'm only going to show you a few rooms, but this is the house I got special permission to share with you guys. So in the project, one of the things that we were doing was removing all of the old fixtures, pulling all the pickles off the sandwich and making all the changes that we want. And at one point in the garage were all these chandeliers. And the builder had asked the homeowner, what do you want to do with all these chandeliers? They're very expensive. He's like, well, do you know how to resell them? And they didn't, and they were trying to figure it out. And then one morning at the project meeting, the homeowner said, I've got a great idea.
I remember this day, actually.
I do too.
Jesse, you know that room at the end of the hallway? It's like this octagonal shaped room. Why don't you put all the chandeliers in one room, hang them all, every one of them from the ceiling? I think that would be so cool. I really want you to do it. And if it looks bad, I'm going to tell everyone that you did it.
It was your idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell everyone it was your idea.
So you have to make it work. And he had this vision also in his mind of a space that he had experienced, not ever with chandeliers all over the ceiling, but he had been in this room somewhere in Paris where it was like a cafe or a speakeasy or something where everything in the room was blue. Blue rugs that were overlapping on the floor, furniture that was really tight in the space plan. So you had to kind of suck in and walk, like shimmy sideways to get in between things. But that this room would be bustling with all sorts of furniture, really well collected, all shades of blue. The room itself, blue draperies, everything. So this was the directive. And I was like, you guys, when I got back to the design studio, this has to look good. He's not budging. He wants to do it. The entire ceiling, which went up to kind of a point. It was like a 8-sided room that goes up to a point, a vault
almost.
Yes, like this, like it's a jewel box of a ceiling, and we're gonna have, I don't know, 8 to 10 chandeliers coming out of the ceiling.
Big chandeliers, not
huge,
like small.
Yes, grand scale. So like the old entry chandelier, the 2-story living room had 2 chandeliers that were massive, hundreds of crystals hanging from these things. So. This was the room that we did. And oddly enough, this is, I'm going to hold up. I'm going to show you pictures right now on the screen. So as you approach the room, you go through a set of double doors, and this is your first view. So those of you that are listening, this is a blue room, blue draperies, large drapery rods, and you start to see the bottoms of chandeliers. And then once you get into the room, this is the experience that we have. And we painted the flat side of the ceiling gold, because we knew all these gold chandeliers were going to be the backdrop. And we had gold details highlighted in all of the finish work. And it's amazing, actually.
It's so stunning.
When you walk in there, you immediately start looking up because you're seeing the bottom of the chandeliers, and you just are like, oh, like this audible gasp when you see it. And it's actually everybody's favorite room in the whole house. They love going down this room, and they love finding their own little seat. We have one of those tete-a-tetes in the middle. Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Where it's like it kind of looks like a ring holder, but it's a sofa that's 4-sided. You guys know the ones. They have them in like commercial spaces or fancy parlors. That's in the center of the room. And then from there, like 4 different furniture groupings spawn off. And it's just such a stunning space. I'm just going to keep sharing images. So hopefully you guys can tune in. Shades that vary from light blue to light gray. There's 3 or 4 different rugs on the ground that all overlap, and the conversations just flow. It is such a great space, and everybody comments on it.
Are all of those chandeliers wired in? Like they all turn on?
They are, and also we put them on pulleys, and so you can lower them on a switch, and they come down, and then they can be cleaned like once a year. They can take the crystals off and clean them and dust them, put them back together, and then pulley them back. It's like a switch, and they go back up. But when we were drawing them all in CAD, we had to make sure that their horns didn't lock. And so we had different studies done at different heights where they wouldn't interlock each other. And we had to make sure that they were hung at exactly to the inch that we had, done all these diagrams with, so that it would be fit perfectly in the space, because there was almost more chandeliers than there was room at the top of the ceiling. Yeah. So anyway, that's a really fun one to look at. There's also, he has one of those great, I think they're Aceline books that are like, I don't know, $2,000. And they come with a set of white gloves so that you can flip through it. So that's in the corner.
That's amazing.
And a real editorial moment. So that is one of, for like when I first thought of what are the boldest spaces we've done, I was like, oh, I have to get permission to share this space because we can't ever share it on the portfolio and it's never been printed in a magazine or book or anything. But that's what we belovedly call the chandelier room here at Alice Lane. Within that same house too, I'm just going to share a fun couple of images. They have a 2-story library. This is all just really beautiful, dark, would you say mahogany?
Yeah.
The woodwork was insane.
The woodwork and the ceiling were all original to the house. And then there's a big marble fireplace also in this really beautiful kind of maroon brown marble, all hand carved. And we just found ways to just make it interesting and sort of tell the story. We've got really beautiful antiques in there, great vintage lamps.
Obviously, like awesome. You guys didn't touch any of the finishes on the walls or anything. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, we had to extend, I feel like, the railings because we ended up doing an addition on another side of the house. But anyway, just the homeowner's collection of books, new furnishings. But that's a really beautiful, bold space as well. The entryway, we ripped out all the Versailles railings and did brand new railings. Finish work is all original.
Yeah, this this balustrade, like the end, so maybe it's like, I don't know, newel.
Pretty.
Like, yeah, what is that?
Isn't that so pretty? It's a polished nickel.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, so pretty.
Giant orb.
Brand new chandelier. I feel like those are existing floors and all the finish work is original.
All the furniture for this home, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like all COM.
Yes.
You didn't want anything that anyone else had.
Yeah, custom pieces, custom finishes on things. Yeah.
Yes. So we picked up furniture lines that we've never carried before and haven't carried since. And we just did, placed big orders. We custom shopped. I
remember pricing all that out because that's what I did back then.
Yeah.
Special projects.
Yeah,
definitely.
Exactly.
Really great runner for the stairs. So new runner, new railings, new furnishings. This, by the way, we never got to style the house because they needed to move in a hurry. So those accessories are just wherever they landed when they moved in. The dining room, really stunning space. This is exactly modeled after Versailles. So you've got the green walls with the gold leaf details, Hunt Salome bunny painting there that you're staring at, vintage chairs, all reupholstered, but really lovely.
One thing about this client too that I think you should touch on is just like that he acquired this like incredible ornate, like so many people would have come into this house and like decorated it as such, left things as they were, but he needed it to like reflect him. And he's such a slap in the face kind of guy that you feel that in all these, and like it completely reinvigorated the entire space. Definitely. Because of what you put on like inside of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also his art collection. Yeah. I wish I would have showed the billiards room downstairs. It's also one of my favorite spaces.
We'll show it to you on the YouTube. We'll pull that out. But talk to him about the billiards room.
Billiards room has this great downstairs and this awesome black and white pool table. But there's this big piece of art that he has. It's of a woman's face, and she has these massive sunglasses on with amber lenses, and you can see her eyes. And it's all wood paneling down there. And as soon as you go down, you're like, oh my gosh, these like take your breath away moments. And I feel like the art, there's just like these power plays, memory points, right? Like chandeliers everywhere, and the art's big and bold, and everything just feels really editorial. And he loves to entertain and have fun. And you get down there and you feel fun right away because the space just exudes that. And I think that's really important as a designer, that if you have the opportunity to do something, to kick it all the way to the furthest degree so that they feel like they're somewhere, because that's what he wanted.
Absolutely.
So fun. Okay, next space we have is a project that nobody has seen yet. We've actually recently completed and shot this. Mm-hmm. It's located in Dallas, Texas, and there's a few really favorite rooms, and we're excited to hopefully share this soon. Maybe it'll be picked up by a magazine.
Published.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it was a remodel. And in the remodel, there was a lot of like shifting of walls and things. Like we completely like reinvented what the kitchen looked like and the keeping room. And but some of our very favorite places is that he wanted like his office, to be really rad. He's successful. He's funny. He's fun. The whole family is so fun. And so that is another interesting thing, that in all these spaces, the humans are really a good time, and therefore they want to like show off that they're a good time, and like kind of show some personality. So that was kind of the directive. Like he wanted his space, his office and the bathroom adjoining to be just like when he has like partners over here, your clients or whatever, that they have an experience. And so in this little powder room, it was so much fun because everywhere is pretty light. And then in these pockets, we get darker. And we wanted to do something that just felt just kind of like organic, young, but still, edified. And we've got this Porter Telio wallpaper, and we did a custom color to it because we ordered in a bunch of options. And then like, we just want to keep cranking it like something that they haven't seen. And so it just became kind of this like deep sea, kelp color almost. And the cool thing about this wallpaper, it's kind of like an enlarged version of what you see in Japanese pottery when there's cracks and they fill it in with gold leaf. Mm-hmm. That's what this wallpaper does. And so on all the walls in this space, we did this Porter Telio wallpaper in this custom color, with an antique rug. And it's a pretty big powder. And so you have like this portion, and then there's like actually another etagere that we'll put on YouTube also. But then it kind of wraps around, and the toilet's just kind of tucked in the corner, kind of behind you. But it's such a scene to have like just that deep, how we love deep saturated, like little pockets like this. But we match the trim color, the door color, this high gloss version of that kelp. And we just put like opinionated art. I think the mirror and that marble floating slab is so beautiful. We threw in an antique rug. Anyway, just to kind of create a conversation. Like you go in there and actually at the end of the install, we were having a conversation in here. Like someone, like when the client was there sitting on the vanity, one designer was on the floor, I was over on the toilet. Anyway, and we're just like, you couldn't help but just like be completely enamored when you were in that space. And so I think that was probably one of my favorite powders that we've ever done.
Yeah.
It's just such a mood. And
I think there is something to what you just said, that like even the chandelier room, here's 40,000 square feet of home. There's sitting areas everywhere, and everybody just can't wait to show you the chandelier room at the end of this house. And you go in there and you're like, oh, here, have a seat, sit down, like experience it. And he pictured, like 4 or 5 breakout conversations going on, and just like kind of a hum of people talking.
Exactly.
And it happens. Like you gravitate toward these awesome spaces, and that's where you want to stand and be. Yeah. That's where you want to experience your conversations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I feel like secrets like kind of stay in a space like that. You remember them when it is darker versus like being infinitely white, Yep. And so like I think that that's really important as you think about like how to be bold. Like we all have a little room that you could plaster in something that's going to be bolder, and like this is one of those spaces in the house that does that. The other space I thought was so rad. Oh yeah.
Just echoing what you just said. I feel like when you make bold decisions like this, it is an experience. 100%. You know what I mean? Like I can imagine, I have never seen this chandelier room in person, but I can imagine sitting in it, and it's almost just like taking in a piece of art, or like being in a museum or something like that, so
it becomes like a prized little collection. Like I get really excited, and like my house isn't anything like, it's not big, but my green bathroom, just like come with me through the dark little labyrinth and like see the pearlwood, you love these like little moments where you like dared to take a risk.
Yeah.
Also,
to be a little bit more bold. Right?
Totally. Also, for 1 second while we're in this pocket or this conversation, one of the questions that have come in on Dear Alice is, I'm thinking about painting a wall a bold color. Should I do it this wall or this wall? You guys, if you could for one moment, we just showed you that chandelier room. What if we chose one wall to be blue instead of the entire space, and instead of all the furniture? You wouldn't have an experience in there. Nobody would want to be like, come down and see this room with one blue wall. If this bathroom had one green wall in it, it would not look this way. The focus wall is not a thing in design anymore. It's a dated idea that has been out of style, I feel like, for more than 10 years, and I don't know that anybody in the business is ever doing one wall. It feels like you want to do it at home. You want to do it on a weekend, and you don't want to have to hire a painter. So you're willing to take the risk and paint one wall. You got to go all in. And that's when you start to create something that you're going to be really proud of. You create a mood, you create an environment, and you also create staying power because everybody wants to be in that space. So I just wanted to quickly say that out loud. If you guys have ever had that question of which wall do I paint, or somebody's even said, I'm going to wallpaper one wall. It's the same thing. You do the whole room or you don't do it. The only instance is if you want to do the 5th wall, and that's the ceiling. If you have a ceiling to wallpaper, like we've shown in theaters and other spaces, that does work, but you're usually painting the walls. a drenched color. You're color drenching, right?
Absolutely.
And then you're hitting that fifth wall with wallpaper. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Just had to teach something while we're in that moment.
Yep.
No, but I think there will be a theme of this, just like that full saturation. You're experiencing something that's completely surrounding you.
Yeah.
In a medium tone, I would say like this, and that's something you can also play with, is like medium saturation versus like deep saturation. Feel what feels right to you. This was in his office, and he wanted to do something again that just like felt different from the rest of the house. We did it in this like really beautiful gray. Isn't that fun? That Yoda. I know he like had this in a closet, and I'm like, or he actually put it up there temporarily. He's like, I don't know what we'll put up there. I'm like, that's awesome. It just needs a new frame. Like 100% we'll do that, because again, it has just like that little cheeky, humor to it that adds such wit to a room and makes it more bold. And so it was a really tall room, and actually it didn't have these windows. So again, as we were kind of like moving walls and trying to create light and interest, we added like this like little wing wall to give more sun into his office and make it larger. So we did this little addition to his office, which allowed for like a sofa, a lounge chair, a vintage, chair from First Dibs covered in zebra, with a desk, and to still have built-ins. And so you really could have like several dudes, gals, whatever, in there having a conversation, or his kids could come in there. And so just spatially, I think the space planning was really interesting, with this really rad wall, these kind of honey built-ins that got along with the desk. And again, like there's no two pieces that are the same in this room. I think back to just like in that, the chandelier room, they were all individual silhouettes. And so you believe that they're the only one that exists, which I think does have like bold staying power also for a room. So anyway, you can see that the wall color again went all the way up and around, and just the overall mood, like you feel his personality.
Is that built in, like dividing that room between another one?
No, that's just like there's a doorway just like right adjacent to it.
Yeah.
But it's so cool, and you look in there and you're just like, that, I would say his name, but that's him. Like I completely feel he would wear that, he would dress that way. And he just has such a good personality, and I'm so glad that like it was mirrored in that room.
When you guys are working on spaces where the client is taking risks like this and doing, making bold moves, do you feel like it comes easier? Like the design, you're like, yes. It's like almost magical kind of. Yeah.
Like it's so exciting that things just start to gel, and you're just like, ooh, that. You gotta do that thing.
Everyone starts riffing, and everyone's on the same frequency.
The client's in on it, and you're all in on the energy. And it's a pretty magical thing to be in.
No, and even like in the presentation, when you do a room like that, and you look at the tray, and you look at some of just like the lifestyle concepts and the outfits and the things that could have inspired this space, you're just like, it just, your temperature just like rises, and your heart starts to beat faster, and it is so exciting, and you're just like, that's going to be fantastic.
I feel like
I'm seeing
right
like flat
too.
finishes on a tray, and I'm like, I know that's going to be awesome.
And I feel like that's the evidence that it is going to work. So if you at home are trying to figure out how to take these risks, if you start collecting your ideas into a tray, right, of some sort, whatever, go to Home Goods. Maybe you have something in the basement, but just start putting the materials in the tray. You can get large paint samples to add to the tray, and you can really start to crank up the volume on it. And it becomes a calculated risk instead of a throwing paint at the wall kind of risk, because then you really get to see how the things are interacting. And this is the proof and the evidence we go forward with to the client to get them to sign off on these bold moves to go forward. So I think if you can look at things together instead of just making willy-nilly decisions to go bold, then you'll choose the right shade of paint color. Yeah.
The right shade of paint color, and just like know when like there was like a couple even like for this, like I don't know if you can tell in this picture, but it is electric orange mohair.
Like, the sofa upholstery.
And there was a couple options that the team was looking at, and they're like, one was like rust, and then like I was like, no, we need something like we need to go brighter. That feels too dirty. And he's electric. He's electric. I'm like, we need to pop it, like let's go brighter. And so we found this electric orange. I remember like I was like in bed, like looking on First Dibs. I'm just like, that's the one. It needs a graphic. It needs black and white. So again, we're always thinking about this and like what would take it to the next level. And that's when we get excited. So you should get excited when you're doing something bold to go shop for this. Sorry, this is going to be a long episode. This is, I love that we created one room into her command center. He had his office, and this was his wife's command center, because she's
the CEO of the household.
Yeah, she runs this household. She does a lot for her community, all the things. And so these are some images of her built in. We knew she again for her command center, she's like, I need a desk with 2 chairs. I need to be able to have gift storage. I need to wrap. I need to be able to print things for my kids. I need to do all these things. And so the built-in kind of facilitated all that. And it made the most sense to do this kind of peninsula. And we're like, what would take it next level? It would take it next level if we created this like cylindrical base, also clad in the marble, a really bold marble. So we found the marble, we drew this up, and the contractor helped us like take it to the next level. So I love the desk in here. Again, fifth wall, the ceiling, like we kept everything light, but just so that we had this like amazing halo chandelier, from one of our vendors. It's so big and beautiful. It just looks, it's so pretty. And we're like, we can't have it on a white ceiling. It won't pop off. Like, so we're like, let's go deep. And we made this like pinstripe detail around with the crown. And
so
anyway,
cool.
The whole thing is just, it feels like her too. It doesn't feel overwhelming, but there's enough style points that like she would wear this 100%.
So beautiful.
Yep. And hopefully you'll see, like we did a green kitchen, which is always really, really fun. And
so pretty.
Again, in the whole space plan, when we show you some of these pictures, like again, this whole kitchen was completely, we blew a wall out in the dining room, created this keeping room to give them the space that they needed. And we like created this sun pantry actually at the front of the house, which I think you usually keep on the interior of a home. But I think that this space just turned out so beautifully and it works for them really, really well. I've seen her kids live in this space. Because, so that whole project was just so fun. And the client was bold and gave us permission to also be bold.
So good. Okay, this next project is one that we just completed in Dallas. It'll hopefully be published by the time this podcast airs. So maybe you'll see it on our Instagram somewhere. We're just still waiting any second now for it to hit the airwaves. But this first space, this is a beautiful space. I don't know how bold it is. This is Gracie wallpaper. The home is contemporary, and so we've got silver wallpaper silhouetted in white trees. And they did some custom things with birds and the butterflies to reflect their children in the space, and their initials are on those. Chairs here are Baker furniture. They're made to look like kimonos. Yeah, the back kind of reminds you of a kimono, which is really lovely. They have experience living over in Asia. And then really beautiful Brazilian console here, original artwork, and just really stunning. It's all very light, very chic, which sometimes feels kind of scary too, to do something so light, but white's their favorite color. And so a lot of the spaces in the home were really, really light. This is it from a distance.
I love how you guys obviously there's a lot of like white, a lot of neutral, but it's a lot of texture.
Yes.
That's like...
Yeah. That's a really good point. In fact, we were talking to our girlfriends, the Hable sisters at Market, and they said if you're ever going to use white, it has to be high texture white. Otherwise, it's just going to feel really flat. And this was a comment they probably made like 4 years ago or so, when like white was like, do all your walls white. But I think that's a good point and worth paying forward here on the podcast, that if you're going to do white, make sure it's a texture, because then at least it has some substance to it, you know? So this is the entryway kind of looking into that space. And then his office, he loves Scandinavian design, and he just really wanted super contemporary. So this great big huge 9 or 10 foot pocket door, if you will, it was massive, like a garage door, slides in and out on wheels. That's looking into the office. And then just really beautiful, serene, light, bright, fresh. Just his books, really the way he works. He prefers a 9-foot dining table for a desk instead of a desk, because he wants a ton of surface space. And I think that's brilliant.
As you should.
I do too.
Yeah, and he knew that about himself going into it. We've done it like once or twice before and called it a desk, but for him just going into it, he always has bought a dining table as a desk, and just really pretty.
Who creates the rhythm of like the bookshelves and stuff? We draw them up.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's amazing.
This is a fun shot, too, of the family room, 2-story wall of glass. You can see right into the house at night, and this is like one of my favorite shots from the outside. This is looking in. This is the day of the photo shoot, so we've got the lights there. But anyway, just really beautiful, serene, architecturally, very, very beautiful. This is brand new to us, so we are still super excited about it. So maybe it doesn't come off as bold, but still really beautiful.
I think there's some big moves, I think, scale-wise, silhouette-wise, even though it's not like always dark saturated color. I think that if you are not, that is not you. Like, that's not your personality. As you're reflecting yourself, be bold in your silhouettes. Be bold, in some of those architectural moments, because I think that will pay off.
Totally.
Okay. Okay, this is another one that we just finished photographing that we haven't released yet. And this is in St. George, and for a client, I think we mentioned it a couple times on here. And we referenced this pantry. And she is from, like, her parents are raised in Great Britain. She was raised going there, like, in the summers, and just had a real love for William Morris and British design and English countryside. And so it was really important that some of these pockets, like, had full saturation. And I think this is probably one of my favorite pantries we've ever done.
Yeah.
So cool.
Full bleed of, like, green. The cabinetry is green. We did a green tile to match. We did this amazing William Morris wallpaper on that fifth wall again. A fun tile pattern, that little curtained.
Yeah, tell me about, like, the
detail.
little, like, pleated curtain thing. Like, is that a sink or no?
Or that's just, like, some under storage. I think she, like, keeps, like, large tubs that you wouldn't want to, like, have to lift
Open
up
a door.
and over
Yeah.
in cabinetry. And it's just so British. You would always, like, you see, like, these little, you know, these
Cafe
textile
rods.
little,
That's a
yeah.
way cool detail. Yeah.
And there's just something that loosens it up where you have so much, like, in a pantry, a utility space, you have cabinetry, you have, like, tile, hard surfaces, to just have something that softens everything. And so, like, this is, again, the rest of the house and the public spaces are light walls, and you just get a peekaboo in here. And it's so much fun.
Because
Like
in a
marble.
pantry this size, it would probably just normally be like white shelves
Yeah.
in a white room.
Yeah.
And look at the difference when you apply design, when you drench in color, when you pull some pattern in, you get a fully evolved, beautiful space. So you want to go in and tell secrets in.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
like, there's, like, a full drink station with an ice maker. And it's like a moment. Like, you go in there and you want to pull your friend and be like, let's make the drinks.
Yes.
Let's do this little thing. And
Let's make the drinks, and
It's
you need
not
to
big.
spill it, sister, because I need to know what happened to you last
Are
weekend.
You pregnant?
Why have you not been talking?
What's going on?
What's happening? Let's
Okay.
talk about it in
Yeah.
this pantry. Yeah.
Yep.
So
So
good.
be bold in your pantries. Be bold in your powders. Like, these small areas, if you're afraid, go in a small space, and, like, it will be your favorite. This is another one. Again, she loved color, and she was so, like, willing to go for this. We did this, like, the cabinetry and an eggplant, like this lovely eggplant.
So
And
pretty.
then on the walls, it's kind of this, like, turned up, like, almost like this, like, pinky lilac. Again, the color drenching where you still are
Oh, the
taking
wall
it.
color is
The wall color is also.
Oh, it reads as white
It does
next
read
to
as
how
white,
bold it
but
is.
It is actually, like, just an uptick on that same
Mm,
string of
So
paint,
pretty.
which is a really, I think, a bold move when you're just like, well, instead of saying, we'll just paint it white like the rest of the house, she had really great cased openings to be like, let's do something different. And I think it pays off. Like, it might not be, like, in your face, but when you're, like, if it was white, I think you would feel that
For sure.
versus having it just, like, a
Yeah.
hair off, you know,
Yeah.
in that same tone. So,
I think
I
that's a
love
really
this.
good thing to teach really quick.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because this is a trick that I feel like we learned it from Jamie Drake's office in New York. There's a designer in New York named Jamie Drake. Those of you on the East Coast already know all this. He's known as the king of color. A couple of our designers that work for us worked for him. And did their internships there. And what he does as the king of colors, he'll use the paint strip. So, you know, there's like 7 colors on a strip on your paint deck. He will use that entire strip. So the very lightest will become his white. And he'll use that maybe on ceilings, especially if the walls are one of the deeper colors. That becomes the white in the space. And then, like, the full saturation is maybe in the upholstery or the rugs. But he really plays that whole strip up and down, stays in one color, several different lightnesses of it.
Yeah.
And it's such a great trick, which you guys played in this pantry. So that wall color was the lightest color on the strip, the darkest color being the cabinetry color.
Yep.
And it all feels really good in one space.
It does.
And it kind of takes the guesswork out.
Yeah, and it's
So-
fun. And this is kind of their entry, because this is, like, right off the garage entry, and so, like, this is what they get to pass every day, which is, like, you should be able to appreciate it and not just have it in a space that you're not really using. I would say go bold in a place that you're actually going to use.
Oh,
So
think how fun it would be to come home to
it'd be
this.
so fun. And the darling, like, the tile floor, like, we did a lot of fun tile tricks in here, which I think is also bold, you know, to, like, just be creative. And honestly, I think the tile source was, like, it wasn't expensive. Like, we had to be responsible. So we found kind of a London mosaics to do something fun. So don't just call it in with just, like, one flat tile. Like, go do some homework if you love it, because you're going to have to spend money on it anyway. So, yeah.
I love that. Let's see her kitchen.
Okay, you guys.
Same
this
house,
kitchen-
same British house.
Yes.
This
I
is
have an overall.
prize.
These fast. Okay. In this kitchen, we're going to show a picture of, like, a horizontal overall shot, which I think is actually might be on our website. But the thing I love about this kitchen, again, this, like, British inspired kitchen, is she's like, I just want to make sure that we have some warmth in there. And so we did her island in this, like, beautiful walnut, and we did, like, we had gold details, and she was so cool to, like, say, okay, let's do a bold marble, you know, if like it's in this like public white space. And so we found the coolest veined marble, you know, and the thing that I want you to notice when Jesse's book matching this for me is that there was like this opening where her range sits. Here, you can kind of see it in this one. Anyway, and we just clad the whole thing like it was a whole interior box lined in this marble. So it wasn't just the countertop. It wasn't just the backsplash. We went up the side splash and kind of cased the whole thing. So it felt like a picture frame in this marble. And it is so fantastic. And then we did the beautiful hood with the floating shells, and just the marble is the king. And I love this picture. You know, this is one of Jess's favorite pockets too, of this, like, this is where this, next to her fridge, like where she'd prepare her tea. She's like, I need like a little drink station. So that's where she'll prepare her tea with a beautiful little cafe curtain. She found this original art. Anyway, just the whole space, even though it's neutral, there are some like bold strokes in here that weren't inexpensive for sure, but they sure do pay off. They're so beautiful.
Yeah, it feels more designer, and like you really, it also feels, I feel like older. You know what I mean? It gives it more history to it. I feel like today's marbles had gotten so light and fresh and barely marble. You know what I mean? Like these bolder veins, I feel like have more staying power and also look way more expensive. They are more expensive, but
for sure. But it's like the thing of castles. It's the old money trick of just like, if you can go bolder and more like odd or weird or, you know, just unordinary, like designer, that will pay you back in spades. Like that has staying power. Totally. For sure. Castles have staying power.
Castles have staying power, y'all.
Come on.
Should we put that on a t-shirt?
Okay, this was her closet, which has to be honestly my favorite footprint of a closet we've ever done. I love the size of her closet because she still had an island, but it wasn't massive. Like I didn't have to send a toddler to go clean the center of it. And so I love that she had an island, and she was so cool to go for this like lacquered blue. Again, you know, we know we love a lacquer, but again, in these small little pockets of space, it's such, instead of just doing the regular paint, go for the lacquer. If you want to like do the next step up, go for the lacquer, because you go in here. And this is the client too, that before we even started this, she's like, so as we're developing the plans, like in the closet, she's like, right now I tuck away in my tiny closet and I order a piece of like lemon cake from Olive Garden and I hide from my children in my closet. I need a sofa in my closet. And so we did this like awesome little fringe number back there in this like window seat with these chartreuse shades on the sconces and this like really beautiful blue. And actually we went through several iterations of the blue. It was even brighter. And then she kind of sampled some of them and we toned it down. But even in the lacquer though, it looks dynamite. It's so, so good. So.
What is the top? Is the top like just lacquered? That's so rad.
Yeah, it's so pretty. It's so beautiful. So
good.
Anyway, so that house,
space in this house. Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, a lot of wallpaper in this house. Again, we did, British design. We did the color trim. She has the cutest dog, the most beautiful dog, and she had this like request for a dog wash, and you can kind of see about in this like little corner behind the laundry hamper, like she just wanted an entrance in and out for him. So we like drew it all up. We tiled that portion so it'd all be really cleanable, and we were really able to customize. Like we had it lower, and she's like, actually, I don't want to go that low. Let's pull it up because I'll never have a dog that is bigger than this one. So anyway, just like the ability to customize and be bold and like pick a wallpaper.
How about those casing colors with the wallpaper? So unexpected.
It's so unexpected. And the ceiling in here, which we'll put a picture on YouTube, the ceiling is actually red. So we pulled these colors, like these little notes from the wallpaper to do the blue casing. And we're like, they're like, should we do the ceiling blue? And I was just like, absolutely no. Like, we're designing for Ruth. Like, let's pull the red from that and have this like really interesting color block. Like, I knew she would appreciate it. And it's so much fun to be in there. And like, that's where she does her laundry. Are you kidding?
Yeah, for
with
real.
Her dog in the dog wash. It's the cutest.
So cute.
Yeah.
This house is this one's been completed for a decade now, but it's our coastal contemporary on the portfolio. But I'm just going to take you right inside the entry. This one is bold because it has the black and white checkered floor. And we've talked to you about this home before where the husband had said, I've always wanted a black and white checkered floor because my aunt had black and white checkered floors. And I always thought they were so successful and like they'd made it, right? And she also wore fake eyelashes and was just like the most glamorous person in his mind. So he dreamed of one day having a black and white checkered floor. So we asked him for permission to do our own take on black and white checkered just because we could and we should, and I felt like it deserved a little something more. So this is what we came up with. This was custom designed and really lovely. The finished work has kind of a dental detail to it, which is lovely. Also a contemporary front door. Other favorite parts about this project, definitely this dining room. This house was published twice. Yeah, so many people have loved this house. It was in Traditional Home magazine. Also, I know we saw it in Utah Style and Design. I was trying to remember if there's another. I feel like people always gravitate toward this project. But the silver leaf barrel vaults, the blue Milo Boffman chairs. Yeah, he was raised, his parents were best friends with the Boffmans. And so he said, I have to have something Milo Boffman in my house. So we gave him 12 dining chairs around this custom zebra wood table. Super pretty. Another thing that I love, this is one of my all-time favorite bedrooms at Alice Lane. The husband's favorite color was lavender. And so he wanted that somewhere. We did it in the bedroom. And so these 2 club chairs are in lavender linen. And then we did a lavender mohair on this bed. And then in that same bedroom in the corner is a little pocket, which was an office. We took the purple full strength. In this room, black walls, built-ins, dark desk. And it's just such a cool space, such a cool environment.
So
Even being a decade old, I still love this room and find the lavender to be so restful. In fact, this gave me the courage on my own bed. I went with like a plum headboard and footboard and rails on my bed, and it's just so dreamy. So anyway, that's total staying power, right? If you're not sick of it a decade later.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's always going to be beautiful.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Can we go with this one?
Yeah. So this will be the last one for this podcast, and then we'll pick up with a few more of our bold favorite projects for next week's episode.
Yep. Again, this isn't like saturated in a dark color, but again, for your neutral lovers of just like adding something interesting. The thing I think that was so cool about this home, also down in southern Utah, was just the geometry. She's kind of just like this Windsor Smith of a thing, just like really classy, loves neutral, loves gray. And so we're like, how do we make this more interesting? And so you have to do it by like the geometry. We did the most amazing stair railing that like wraps over this breezeway. So you'd get to see a lot of it, and it was organized by I loved how the stair turned out. So, and like everything else is like beautiful and quiet and complements it really nicely. But like, that's so beautiful. In the parlor, I thought that this turned out amazing. And again, we'll show some like broader pics of it too. But we did this like, again, a kind of a fluting on the whole room. So again, we kept it neutral, but textural again. If you're going to go light, stay textural. And then we did some amazing marble fireplace, mantle, and anyway, just all the details and the lighting and everything. I just thought, especially like for a neutral space, if that's your jam, there's ways to make it interesting and like add these like little color pops. We actually brought in the yellow just to like, we're like, we got to turn this girl up, you know, but so yeah, that's these a couple spaces from this home. And then, she was down for the marble tub, y'all.
Whoa, that's sick.
I don't know if you saw this, but this is her primary bath. And it was so beautiful to be in there and to just see this like little archived little, it's like a barlet, little twisted foot stool with the marble shower and the glass. And just like, I felt like angels started to sing when I walked in. It was so pretty. And just that marble tub, I think bold moves like that of just like doing something that's not common.
Yeah.
That's the bold, you know, that's what makes it special. That again, massive staying power.
That's what you remember.
It is
about a space.
Homegirl had a marble tub.
Yeah. Homegirl did.
Just
you sourced that.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, you did.
So sourced that hardcore.
Congratulations. That is so beautiful. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in today, and we'll keep the conversation going. I'm hoping you guys will go watch some of this on YouTube because it's going to be visually such a feast to look at.
Yeah, and join us by following at Alice Lane Home and at Alice Lane Interiors on Instagram. Check out alicelanehome.com. Sign up for our insider newsletter to be the first to know all the things Alice Lane. And we'd love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And if you have any questions or topic ideas, email us at dearalice@alicelanehome.com.
Awesome. We'll catch you next time. Hey, thanks for listening. If you like our show, please leave a 5-star rating.